All right. Anyhow, we've looked at 3 different properties, and this is why you hear different gurus telling you, oh, don't worry about it, it's just land. You can buy land using Google Maps, man. You got all the information you need on the property appraiser website and so on and so forth. To some extent, that's okay. Yeah, you got a lot of data on the internet. What data doesn't tell you, number one, man, mosquitoes out there. There's this lot. Here, I'll give you an example. This lot that I'm at right now, okay, here you can see over here. Okay, it's just a wooded lot right now. It's supposed to be 2 different lots, and supposed to have 2 wells and 2 septics. Okay, that's by the owner's word now. That's not just on the property appraiser. Lot of old tires. That's why there's so many mosquitoes over here. Anyhow, you don't take anybody's word. You don't, especially if they have an interest. Okay, if you're not hiring that person, so their interest is you, then what are you going to do? Just take the word of the seller? No. You know, there's a old saying in real estate that buyers are liars. Well, so are sellers. so don't ever just take the word of a seller. You need to hire somebody, whether it be somebody that goes out and takes pictures, or a real estate professional, licensed real estate professional. You know, the argument, you know, are they a realtor or not? That, I don't think that really matters. As long as they're licensed and can legally represent you and do business with you and for you, that's what matters. And you can look that up at myfloridalicense.com and do a license verification. And so you can see whether or not that person's active, whether or not they're allowed to be doing real estate. And just because they have a license doesn't mean they're active. So you need to make sure they're active. Otherwise, they're not supposed to be representing anybody. Now, they can refer the work off, but they can't do the work themselves here in Florida. Okay, so just be aware of things like that. So eyes on the property, folks. Eyes on the property. I drove all the way up to Dixie County last week, which is about 100 and something miles from here, and I looked at 5 properties along the way, and one represented okay out of the 5. So far today, the first property, it's, you know, a nice little piece of land right there on the corner and everything. It's got structures and everything. Man, it's just going to cost a fortune to get all the junk out of the yard. And if it's occupied, you have to get that occupant out. Now, that particular property is what is called here in Florida a tax deed. And I look at those. I actually specialize in tax deed properties. Been doing it for quite some time now, and I'll tell you again, just to make sure it's getting through. Don't ever buy a property without having eyes on that property, either by you personally or somebody that you've hired to do it for you. And I advocate to get a licensee to do that for you, not just somebody off the internet. Oh, I'll go take pictures for you. Do they even know what they're looking for? Okay, do they have a clue? You know, are they even at the right property? Like this property right here, is this the right property? You wouldn't know by my pictures whether or not this is the right property. It could be any property. Just go down through this road and there's all kinds of vacant lots like this. So another reason I like to put eyes on properties is because I also find other properties out and about when I'm around in these areas like this. You could not even begin to imagine how many abandoned home sites there are in Florida. There's just thousands, tens of thousands of them. You know, they're not all worth it and they're not all okay, and you have to do some hunting to find people. But that's how you're going to get that deal on a very tight budget. Remember, that's what we're going to be talking about here, is homesteading on a very tight budget. Okay, if you look at the little logo I made up, and that's just a rough one. I'm not any kind of artiste or anything like that. But you will see a little slogan on the bottom in the CBs. There's our little emblem right there, you know, CBs. We have done so much with so little for so long that we can do almost anything with nothing. And that is what I'm looking to accomplish here with you, is to, number one, we're going to find a property that we're going to buy, and then we're going to begin homesteading that property. And in Florida, you actually literally homestead. There's homesteading laws. You get exemptions for it. But beyond the tax exemption, there's also another certificate of homestead that you want to file, so that you ward off creditors. Homesteading does a little bit of it, but when you file a certification, they basically can't touch you. You know, and then another aspect of that, of course, is we'll get into, do you own it in your name? Do you own it in an LLC, a corporation, you know, a trust? How do you own these things? What do you do? You know, and so as we dive into this deeper, I think you're going to find some very good information. I have decades of knowledge behind me. So there are ways to participate in real estate with little or no money. Many of those properties, I didn't put any money out of my pocket at all. Zero. Except for maybe the gas and riding around like I'm doing today. I find people that want those properties, I turn around and sell them to them. Okay. Now again, legally, I can do that as a real estate licensee in the state of Florida. I can represent you as a buyer, for instance, locate that property, get that property purchased, and then flip that property without ever even having any ownership, and collect a commission on it, or a fee. It doesn't have to be commission like as in percentage. It can be fee. So it could be in many different ways that I'm able to accept compensation. And so that might be a question of yours. Should I get licensed or shouldn't I? Well, depending on where you're at and depending on what, you know, it takes, and depending on the laws in the state of Florida, to operate as an unlicensed practitioner in real estate, it's a third-degree felony if they find you and convict you of that. So it's not light. You don't want to be practicing in Florida without a license. So for me, it's beneficial because, number one, I'm not practicing without a license, and therefore I'm not going to be violating the law in that sense. But even then, before then, I had my license. So that's a personal decision. There's you know, good things and bad things, and that's something we can go over in time. I plan on doing some live interactions with you guys. I am putting together a program, but not only a program, but a an entire interactive program wherein like lots like this, lots like this is actually a private owner that had this on Facebook Marketplace, and they're advertising it with 2 wells and 2 septics. Ain't no wells, ain't no septics here. It's not a bad little lot, but it's not what they're saying it is. So now any other information that they might provide me, I'm skeptical of, because there's no evidence of any of that. And I walked it. I looked around. I did see a bear paw though. So there are bears back in here. We're in the Ocala forest right now, is where I'm at. Anyhow, I appreciate you joining me here. This is Don with the Homesteading Bee. Join me. Click subscribe, notification bell. I'm new to all that, so that's ding ding ding, hit the bell, subscribe. But let's get this going. Help me out here and I'll help you out. I hope to provide you a lot of good content along the way, and I appreciate you. You know, stay safe. Have a great Thanksgiving and holidays coming up. If you celebrate them, if you don't, you know, well, then just have great days. To me, every day above ground is a great day. I've got almost the last 11 years behind me, from the grace of a boy that died in order to give me a kidney. So anyhow, I appreciate y'all. Take care. We'll get back at you soon.